All right, I'm here today with Susana Moody. And Susana is I'm going to let her tell you about it. So, first up, Susana, tell us your full name and where you are from.
Susana Montero, the Moody comes after, from Naco, Sonora, Mexico, border crossing state with Naco, Arizona.
Very cool. So, I assume you obviously speak Spanish.
Yes, English and Spanish, fluent on both.
Fantastic. Um, so, tell me a little bit about your heritage. Like, what is it that you love most about your culture?
The people. The people, definitely. It's very family oriented. Everybody's very helpful. They get into everybody's business, but let's not say that. Everybody just helps everybody. Every time you go visit any place you go visit, they will give you coffee and food and whatever. They go out of their way to make you feel welcome.
Do you have a favorite tradition?
Yes, Dia de Muertos, the Day of the Dead. It's I have a lot of memories growing up when my grandmother used to make wreaths made out of paper, where she would make the flowers, not like plastic flowers, or she would get paper and she would make all the little petals, put them all together, and then she'd dip them in wax. She had her whole house hanging, and then she put them on the wreath, and then we take them to the cemetery. So she started doing that, but then on the first is where everybody goes. They clean the tombs, they have food, they have music. You get to see a lot of people that you haven't seen in a long time, because everybody comes to visit from different parts of the state, from parts of Mexico and everything. So it's like a party at the cemetery.
And the purpose is to celebrate those that have passed.
Those have passed, yes.
Wow.
We spend time with our ancestors. We go visit everybody, not just like your mom or your dad. You go visit your grandma, your grandpa, your aunts, your uncles, people you know. It's something beautiful.
That's amazing. What are 3 most important things about your culture that people should know?
Let me see. I guess people, it's one of the main important things that we have. Everybody's very generous. Everybody's very friendly. It's just amazing for me. My heritage is.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your passion. I know it has a lot to do with food and your culture. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. I love cooking. I learned a lot of the cooking that I learned it more from my grandmother on my mom's side, because my mom was one of those that she was like scared for us to touch the stove, and she was overprotective. But my grandmother is the one who taught me. The first thing I learned from her was how to make flour tortillas. She had a wood stove and she would make the big tortillas, and so she said, hey, if you want to learn hands-on. And I started learning how to flip them without burning my fingers, and I've learned a lot of the recipes that I have that I make. I learned from my grandmother. My mom taught me other things because my mom cooked a little different than my grandmother, but yeah, it was amazing growing up the way I did. I wouldn't change none of it.
That's amazing. And I know cooking is kind of how you show love for one another, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, every time, anywhere, like I said, you go visit, they will feed you. If you go to 20 houses will give you something to eat, and you never say no. Even if you just take a bite out of it, it's just amazing the way people treat you.
And I thought it was interesting, the other day we were talking and you were telling me about how Christmas is a bit different.
Yes, Christmas is a bit different. We grew up, we would go like from one grandma's house to the other grandma's house, or to the great grandmother's house. Like all my cousins would come, spend time with my grandmother, and we would make bizcochuelos, which is like a little cookie. You just roll it and then you just make little circles from it. And for us, it was like, whoa, we're making bizcochuelos with grandma. And then we have the posadas, which is you know, they have piñatas that the kids break and they pray and all these other things, you know, that they do. They have the kids piñata, which is full of candy, oranges, peanuts, all this stuff. And then they have the grown-up piñatas, which is flour. And they're made out of clay. So they break very easily.
So what happens with that flower
It
piñata?
just, you get covered in flour. That's all.
So it's not about gifts.
No, it's not about gifts. When we were growing up, we never had gifts under the tree until we woke up on the 25th. And then we wouldn't get but just one or two, because then on January 5th, which is when the wise men, you know, los Reyes Magos, that's normally when you get up there. In Mexico, that's a tradition that you get your presents. El Día de los Reyes Magos, which is the three wise men, when they give the gifts. So
Awesome. All right, so tell me something about your childhood that made a lasting impression on you.
oh my God, my neighborhood, my grandparents, my parents, we just had, like, on weekends, we could stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning because all the grandmothers would sit outside and talk while all the kids were playing. It was just an amazing childhood that I would not trade for nothing in the world, ever. I learned a lot from them, cooking, how to knit, how to crochet, how to do a lot of things from my grandmothers and from my mom. I learned how to sew from my mom because my mom used to make all her clothes. And so, yeah, they taught me how to be a good person and how to love person and how to treat people good. So I think that's where I get it from sometimes.
Yeah.
I can be mean, I'm just kidding.
All right, well, thank you so much, Susana. Okay, in closing, I have one final thing that I need to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say a question,
Mm-hmm.
and you give me the quickest answer that you can. Okay? So we have 90, this is 60 to 90 seconds, get to know you.
Okay.
All right, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Ireland,
What's your favorite color?
black,
Are you a morning person or a night person?
morning person, and night person, so
What's your favorite animal?
dogs.
What's your weapon of choice?
Don't have one.
What's your favorite food?
Flour tortillas with refried beans.
What is one item you could never live without?
Coffee.
What is your favorite hobby?
Crocheting.
Name your dream car.
Oh, 1967 Chevy Camaro Super Sport.
If you were famous, what would you be famous for?
My cooking and my baking.
Awesome. Thank you, Susana.
You're welcome, Julie.